Semi-finals. The point of a tournament where defeat is most heartbreaking. Defeat in the final, you at least guaranteed loss to the best team, the best player in the tournament. Defeat in the semis, and what have you got? What have you achieved? You almost made it. But remember, top 4 of anything is an incredible achievement. And these 4 coaches have proven themselves to be the best we have across 10 weeks of incredibly competitive Pokemon. Weens, coach of the Virginia Beach Weasels, did the bulkiest squad in history and had a real roller coaster of a season, confirming their playoff spot in the final week of the regular season. In the quarterfinals, they got revenge for their week 2 loss by upsetting one of the favourites for the whole thing in Twimbley and the Grumpy Pigs. Now they're the ones defending a revenge attempt as they face Evney, coach of the San Diego Dondozo. Many people, myself included, doubted this squad coming into the season. But week in, week out, Evney has shown not only a ridiculous level of skill as a battler, but also as a team builder, piloting what everyone thought was a pretty predictable squad to, as it stands, a 6-match win streak, staring down their week 2 opponent, one of only 3 teams to beat them this season. On the other side of the bracket, we have Lieutenant Late Siege Surge Tommy and the Alaskan Articuno, who once again drafted a squad that split opinion, once again started the season in a shambles. For the 3rd season in a row, went on an absolute tear in the second half to not only make playoffs, but take out one of the top teams to reach the semi-finals, where each of the previous 2 seasons they have been defeated. This season they face arguably their toughest opponent and the almost unanimously best squad in the league pre-season power rankings and the number 1 seed coming into the playoffs. Hello, coach of Einer Get Knocked, a team that have lost just once all season long, way back in week 2. A team with supposedly the most impressive Pokemon in draft, Ursaluna. Though I think Saispam might have something to say about that. This team does have it all though. Balance, weather, speed control, incredible power. It's been meticulously crafted and expertly piloted. Now they stand 2 wins away from immortality. Will it be one more for the road in celebration or lament? Virginia Beach Weasels versus San Diego Dondozo. This one is so tough to call. Looking at the stats, it's like the unstoppable force meets the immovable object. With over half of Evney's squad having 110 plus in an offensive stat. Ween's squad averaging over 100 in both defensive stats. So let's break this down piece by piece. Both have solid redirection options. Follow me? Can't be blocked. So W Pachirisu on that. But you can only have 1 safety goggles and 1 grass terror. And the Sussy Shroom is way tougher to take down than Pikachu. They both offer great utility to the team in their own right. But overall, I think Mungus is the more consistent redirection support and can offer a lot more offensively than Patchy. So, this one, W Shroom. Both have special attacking via Ghost Mons. In a head-to-head, Typhlosion wins. It's naturally faster, and point for point, even a timid Candle can't outspeed a modest Typhlosion. So W Eruption Bot. But Chandelure brings a lot more to the team than Typhlosion. Typhlo, of course, has Frisk, which is a ridiculously powerful ability in closed team sheets, doubly so in draft. Both have access to Wisp to neuter opposing physical attackers. Both have Sunny Day to control the weather, should you need it. Typhlosion does have Roar to counter setup or to help against Trick Room. That's where its supporting capabilities end. And unless you want to run it physically offensive, which is such a bad idea, it lacks coverage, making it fairly predictable. You absolutely have to have an answer to it, but you have a fair idea of what it's going to do when it hits the field. Candle, on the other hand, has pretty nice coverage with Psychic, Energy Ball, Dark Pulse, has great support tools in Haze, Clear Smog, Wisp, Trick Room, Taunt. With Flash Fire or Flame Body, it has viable abilities that can ruin an opponent's day. So it can even be a great defensive pivot. So, in this one, W Candle. Both have bulky psychic supports. This one is a no contest, I'm afraid. Screamtail, while very one-dimensional and offering nothing offensively, besides a little bit of chip damage, is an absolute menace. Near impossible to prep for. Its support toolkit is ridiculous, and thanks to it being pretty pointless padding out those pitiful attacking stats, it's stupidly bulky and hard to remove. Uxie, on the other hand, really is just kind of Cresselia at home. Psychic, Levitate, ridiculous defensive stats, Trick Room, Ally Switch. Cresselia is, however, unfortunately better in every single way. So, W Screamtail here. Both have Fighting type Fake Out Mons. This is like comparing a Desert Eagle to a Glock. On the surface, they're both handguns that can complement your loadout and be a very valuable sidearm, but they fulfill very, very different roles. One can output massive amounts of damage in a single hit. The other is going to chip away at the enemy and be a good backup option if things go wrong. Iron Hands is that deagle. It's heavy, powerful, and near unstoppable in the right hands. With moves like Drain Punch and Wild Charge, it can be an offensive powerhouse that you have to play around. But with its physical bulk and an Assault Vest to pad out its special defense, Fake Out, Volt Switch, it can be tough to control defensive piece as well. Hitmontop, however, cannot compare on either side, but it plays a very different role. It's more insane when Game Freak cared about game balance. Fake Out, Intimidate, Helping Hand, Wide Guard, it's there to be a team player. You'll never complain about having one, you just have to figure out when and where to use it. Here, taking personal preference for the offensive power of Iron Hands out of the equation, I call it a tie. There are similarities, but the roles are too different to make a direct comparison between them. Both have very hard to stop speed control. Tornadus Therian versus Porygon 2. Not a matchup the majority of VGC players will ever have to consider. On one side, you have a ridiculously fast, deceptively bulky, regenerated Tailwind setter. On the other, you have one of the best Trick Room setters in history. But with Eviolite and Recover, is not only difficult to stop setting Trick Room, but also difficult to stop resetting Trick Room. Both have the stats and move pools to take advantage of their own speed control. Both have decent enough support toolkits to be able to help the team besides the speed control, if needed. Tornadus, however, is typically not going to stay on the field very long. It's going to set Tailwind, take a hit, and then get out of dodge with a U-turn to bring in a friend and get that health back. P2, on the other hand, is going to stick around. It's going to be annoying. It's going to deal a surprising amount of damage and just be a thorn in your side till you finally, if you finally get it out of there. Though I do feel Tornadus is a very underrated Pokemon. I have to give the W to P2 here. It's more than capable of holding its own against the big guns, and even if your opponent leads well into you, it's rarely going to go down, even on turn 2. Yes, it's very reliant on Eviolite, making it susceptible to taunt and fake out, but the padded stats the item gives more than make up for that. Both have physically offensive steel types. How the hell do you compare a multi-time champion pseudo-legendary Excadrill? Simple, because I can. This is my video, and if I want to do something insane, I will. Also, this is draft, baby. Those championships don't matter shit here. And actually, the Armored Mole has a surprisingly good matchup into the mechanical monster. It's faster and has Stab Earthquake. So Metagross isn't going to want to stick around when that little guy hits the field. They also actually have the same attack stat at 135. And with Excadrill being almost 20 points faster, it's a very good fit on Evnie's team. Especially when you take Mold Breaker Earthquake into account. No switching in your Levitate Mon to this shake-up. Unfortunately, that's where Excadrill's advantages end. Pseudo-legendary status gives Metagross a better move pool and better defensive stats. W Metagross. Don't sleep on the rodent in this matchup though. Its speed, power and decent coverage have made it a key piece in the Dondozo's unbeaten run, and something that the Weasels are going to have to deal with ASAP. Likewise, Metagross has appeared in, I believe, every single game since being brought into the squad, and averaged near a killer game in the Weasels' impressively consistent season. So here it's 3-2 Weasels, but this is the pre-game. This means nothing. What are the leads? Tornadus Valiant, Mug and Pepsi. And we'll boost into attack. I hate that ability. Immediate terror from the Weasels into the P2. Terror Ghost, as you'd expect. Fake out into the Tornadus. Sequin Storm, it's a covert cloak Tornadus. Luckily, hit on top, avoids. Trick from Valiant. Gave the P2 a pair of choice specs, but crucially gets rid of the Eviolite. Trick Room goes up. Now, Weens has to waste a turn of Trick Room, switching out both of his Mons. And that P2 is going to be very difficult to bring in without its Eviolite. There goes Pepsi. In comes Sprite, the Metagross. And there goes Hitmontop. In comes Fanta, Chandelier, Shadow Ball. Oh, then Metagross takes that surprisingly well. Frequent Storm's not really going to do a great deal to either of these. We have a fairly safe switch. Tornado switches out. In comes the hands of Brian. Psychic Fangs into the Valiant. One hit KO. Hey, crit. I'm not really sure that mattered too much though. Single target Heat Wave. Does respectable damage actually to the hands. And here comes Among Us. Tricky situation with Terra committed and Among Us on the field. Chandler switches out. In comes Mug. Hitmontop. Getting an Intimidate down on that Iron Hands. 4 into the Metagross. Now, is the Metagross going to be able to take a -1 Drain Punch? Or -1 whatever this Iron Hands wants to do. Drain Punch actually goes into the Hitmontop slot. The Rocky Helmet Hitmontop too. That's some decent chip down on Brian. Iron Hand switches out. Back comes Tornadus. Breakout goes into the Among Us. One turn Wake Up. Psychic Fangs into the Among Us. Gets rid of the Sussy Shroom. That's a very lucky Wake Up there for Weens. But Trick Room pins. Back comes Iron Hands. Yo, Evany, you have to be wary of the wide guard that comes out. Straight away. Fake out goes into the Metagross. And Bleak Wind Storm blocked by the wide guard. But now you have the Mind Games. Do you click wide guard? Does Tornadus have another offensive move? He clicked wide guard again. And Bleak Wind Storm came out. Ooh, Iron Hands is faster than Metagross. Psychic Fangs though finishes off Brian. Wide guard again. Bleak Wind Storm again. Heavy slam. Not quite enough to pick up the KO on the bird. Feint. Stops any kind of protect. Bullet punch. Finishes the job. Game 1 goes to the Virginia Beach Weasels. Really, really well played by Weens there. Absolutely fantastic play. How does Evney adjust to that? You can see from Metagross underspeeding Iron Hands that Weens is kind of all in on Trick Room. So, do you even need Tornadus now? You should naturally have the speed advantage here. So, is it time to unleash Screamtail? Are we going to see Prehistoric Puffball? We still see Tornadus Valiant. We still see Hitmontop P2. I'm a little confused by this play from Evney. Fake Out comes out, and there's a taunt. No more Trick Room for you. Now, Evney knows that the wide guard is available, so you have to believe Tornadus is switching out. Got off the taunt. There's no real need for Tailwind. You have to think Taunt is going. It isn't. There's a helping hand. Bleak Storm misses on Hitmontop again. Moonblast gets rid of the Hitmontop. Now we have a helping hand boosted Ice Beam into Tornadus. It lives? Wow. Tornadus switches out. Some health back. Out comes Excadrill. Here's the first adjustment we see. Moonblast goes into the P2. That's great damage. Terra Blast comes out into the Excadrill. Obviously resists thanks to that steel typing. Psychic Fangs takes out the Valiant. Taunt ends. Back comes Tornadus. Terra comes out into the Excadrill. Terra flying. No, Terra ground. Does remove its ground weakness with that. And boost the power of those earthquakes. Terra comes out from Queens into Metagross. Terra Dragon. Bleak Storm double connects. Don't think Pepsi is long for this world. There's the earthquake. Doesn't affect Tornadus. Ooh, that still does a ton of damage to that Metagross. Stomping Tantrum. Ow. Great adjustment here from Evney. Bullet punch. Oh, there's a tailwind. Now, Excadrill outspeeds Chandelure. Another stupidly strong earthquake. Finishes up. Game 2 goes to the San Diego Dondozo. That Excadrill's a menace. Now it's Ween's turn to adjust. What does Weens have in his back pocket to help deal with not only the Excadrill, but with the taunt to be able to get up Trick Room? Game 3. Who goes to the finals? Evney immediately starts with Tornadus Excadrill, and Weens leads with Pachirisu Chandelure. Do you think, barring some kind of miracle, Evney's just won this game on turn 1? Reading that adjustment. That's a phenomenal lead. Here comes the Terror. Into the Excadrill. Boost the power of those earthquakes. Terror from Weens. Does he have a defensive Terror up his sleeve? It's into the Chandelure. It's Terror Grass. Ooh, we might not be over. Weak to the Tornadus, but crucially resists the Excadrill. Thorn just uses Bleak Wind Storm. Crucially though, misses on Fanta. Here comes the Earthquake. Pachirisu obviously goes down. There goes the Trick Room. But what does Weens have up his sleeve in the back? It's Bright, the Metagross. Excadrill protects. Heavy Slam going into the mole. Heat Wave comes out. Misses on the Tornadus. Down goes Chandelure. Ah, that was an awful miss. The Heat Wave was never going to take out the Tornadus, but once again, P2 gets the attack. Excadrill quite rightly switches out. Here comes Iron Valiant. Heavy Slam. One shots the Iron Valiant. Ice Beam, we know, doesn't KO the Tornadus. Doesn't even do half. Dark Pulse. Super effective, but doesn't do a great deal. That Metagross has to be vested. In comes Iron Hands. Make up pressure on the board. Takes out the Metagross. Terra Blast. Into the Iron Hands. Oh god, that's nothing. Taunt prevents resetting of Trick Room. Iron Hands switches out. Saving the Fake Out for later. Back into Excadrill. Heavy Slam into the Tornadus. Picks up the KO. Ice Beam into the Excadrill. Needed one more turn of Trick Room. This has just been masterfully played by Evney. Fake Out goes into Pepsi. High horsepower. finishes off the Metagross. Hold up. Beam finishes off the Excadrill. Now, this Drain Punch. We've already seen it, KOs anyway, but we'd already seen how little damage P2 was doing to Iron Hands. There was no way it was going to 1v1, even with the recovers. What a match. Incredibly well played by both coaches. Weens took that to the wire. I thought game 3 was done on turn 1. Somehow Weens managed to drag that all the way to the end. Wow. I don't know what to say. That was just so good. Congratulations to Evney. Making the finals in your first season in this league is an insane accomplishment. Yes, Evney is an absolutely phenomenal player, but this is a very, very competitive league. Weens has unfortunately said that they're highly unlikely to come back for season 4. So, as much as I'd love to see him back, such a creative team builder and an incredible player that almost went undefeated in their first season. I wish him well. Very, very sad to see you go, but good luck in whatever it is you're going to be doing instead of Pokemon. Ursaluna versus Goodra. 2 titans of the Hisuian age slugging it out for titles in the modern day. But this one is about more than the oppressive bear versus the unbreakable dragon. You also have the fire type that looks like a dragon versus the fire type that for some reason is a dragon. Prankster Bug versus Prankster Ghost. Speedy, hard-hitting grass starter versus pay-to-win grass legendary. Poison Snake versus Poison Frog. So many similarities between the squads and so many counters to each other. They didn't play during the regular season, so there's no real precedent set, no history for us to look back on. So let's take a look at the squads and break them down. Both have great sun modes. Sableye with Charizard Raging Bolt for EGN. Illumise with Gouging Fire Slitherwing for the Articuno. Fire types to get a double boost from the sun, and Photosynthesis Mon on each side. Interestingly though, both Prankster supports also have access to Rain to take away the opponent's sun. Rain would probably benefit the Articuno more as a defensive option, with no real fire resist outside of gouging, but they would also likely benefit from the sun the most, with the 2 Photosynthesis Mons on the squad. Both teams have excellent speed control. Cresselia for EGN, Illumise for the Articuno. But is Tommy really going to set Tailwind when Cresselia is staring him down? Probably not. Speed tiering is going to be an incredibly tough thing for both teams, as they are so close in those stats. Commit into Trick Room would be the obvious play for Kala, but the bulk on Tommy's squad would make it difficult for the bear to sweep in a single instance of the Twisted Dimensions. There's fake out support on both sides. I don't really see Tinkerton being a factor in this battle for EGN. Fairy doesn't hit anything other than Slitherwing for super effective damage, and Gigaton Hammer unfortunately isn't as strong as it should be, thanks to that poor offensive stat. Toxicroak, on the other hand, could be a very useful mod. Yes, it's weak to Crest Luna, but it deals with Meowscarada pretty well and has good enough coverage to fill a role on the team. Both squads have access to a lot of damage mitigation. Both squads are already very bulky, but you throw in the option to add to that, like Screens, Snarl, Intimidate, Breaking Swipe, and this could get to insane levels of bulk. I think an additional way to slow down Ursaluna will be key to Tommy having any chance of pulling off the upset here. But Kala also needs to have a plan to slow down the likes of Landorus and Ogerpon that have been key parts of Tommy's success this season. The one real advantage that I see for the Articuno is that they have redirection support in Ogerpon and Furret. Yes, EGN have a lot of spread offense, but being able to stop the likes of Bolt and Cresselia, who don't normally carry hard hitting spread attacks, from getting in a double up on a key piece is priceless. As you can see, this is going to be a very, very close, likely very positional battle that could very easily be won by a good lead or a risky read paying off. Kala has shown over and over again that their prep and lead choices are immaculate, but Tommy across 3 seasons has shown the willingness to take a gamble on a play that could win or lose the game. With the bulk and damage output available to both teams, this could either be a hyper offensive, over in 2 games, over in 4 turns match, or a slow defensive 2-1 set. I might be a little biased with my friend being in this, but I'm really looking forward to this one. Here we go. Round 1. Out. Raging Bolt, Sableye, Slitherwing, Gouging Fire. Interesting leads. Ooh, the booster energy's on Slitherwing. Attack heightened. Immediate terror from Tommy. Into the Gouging Fire. Terra Grass. Resisting the Draco Meteor. And an immediate terror from Kala. Into the Raging Bolt. Terra flying. Wash Sableye. I love that thing. Leech Life. Ooh, not enough to pick up the KO on the Sableye. Dragon Pulse comes out. No longer super effective. Dragon Claw comes out. No longer super effective. Quash on the Slitherwing this time. Snarl. Bit of chip damage. Crucially reduces the special attack on that Bolt. Dragon Pulse. Nothing. Ooh, Wild Charge just misses the KO. Could be arranged for a Snarl now though. Or a Breaking Swipe. Slitherwing protects. Expecting another quash. Encore. Thunderclap. Fails. Great protect by Tommy there. Breaker Swipe comes out. Double KO. First blood to the Articuno. And it's a double. Here comes Cresselia. And Ursaluna. Love that Kala is called Ursaluna Run. Slitherwing switches out. Loses that attack boost. In comes Illumise. Break a swipe. Again, good chip, but crucially reducing that bear's attack. Sidekick into Illumise. Ice Punch into the Gouging Fire without the Guts boost and that -1. It doesn't do a great deal of damage, but it gets the freeze. Leftovers. Oh, it's not Flame Orb, Ursaluna. Charm on Illumise. Now a -3 Ursaluna. Gouging Fire stays frozen. Calm Mind Cresselia. Uh-oh. Ice Punch. Considering that's -3, that's a good deal of damage. Gouging Fire switches out. Into the Slitherwing. Ally switch. I'm surprised that went before Encore. Encored the bear into Ice Punch. Endeavor. Plus Leech Life. KO on Cresselia. Ice Punch chipping away, but that Ursaluna is completely neutered. Endeavor plus close combat. Game 1 goes to Tommy and the Alaskan Articuno. Really, really well played there by Tommy. I think they just took Kala by surprise with that lead. One thing though was, I'm sure Tommy's Gouging Fire carried Flare Blitz. If he'd used Flare Blitz, yes, he'd have taken recoil damage, but it would have thawed the Gouging Fire. How does Kala adjust here? What change can they make? Keep the title hopes alive. Lover and Style. We've got Alomalola and Meowscarada versus Slitherwing and Gouging Fire. Kala's nicknames are brilliant. Meowscarada switches out. Scared off by the Slitherwing. In comes the bear. Slitherwing protects. There's that Flare Blitz. That was almost half to... Oh no. Oh no. Soak on the Gouging Fire. That's an interesting choice. Now no longer weak the ground attacks. For that burn, if that is a Guts Ursaluna that's not running Flame Orb, that burn is a problem. Terra from Kala into Ursaluna. Terra Ghost. Just in case that close combat is coming out. Another Flare Blitz. More massive damage. And he went for the Leech Life. Doesn't quite pick up the KO though. Flip turn into the Slitherwing. What is this bear going to do? In comes Raging Bolt. Facade. Gouging Fire. Gone. Bear. Gone. Here comes Goodra. Meowscarada. Alomalola returns. Goodra instantly switches out into Ilamise. Wild Charge. Ooh, crit. With the defensive stats on Alomalola, crit probably mattered. Huge amount of recoil for Slitherwing though, and gets taken out by the Thunderbolt. Oh, we have a disconnect. Now, it was agreed in Discord that Tommy was in a winning position, and therefore game 2 and the match goes to Tommy and the Alaskan Articunos. I'm not entirely sure there was no way back. Kala, they still had a full health Meowscarada and Raging Bolt versus Ilamise and Goodra. It depends on the set on the Meowscarada, because I know for a fact that Tommy's Goodra was Sap Sipper, so Meowscarada couldn't hit it with a grass move. But if Meowscarada's carrying knockoff, U-turn, as they quite often are, we saw that the Bolt had Thunderclap, Dragon Pulse, Thunderbolt, so the Bolt couldn't really hit Goodra. Certainly not enough to outpace the Life Dew. And yeah, I guess to be honest, with Shelter, Life Dew, Heavy Slam, Body Press, Goodra, yeah, I take it back. The Goodra from there probably 1v2s the Bolt and the Meowscarada. Finals are set. Tommy has broken the semi-final curse and made it to the big one. Ebony, in their first season in the league, settled after a shaky start and steamrolled everyone down the stretch to reach the title match in their very first attempt. Two absolutely informed teams battle it out to be the first SV champion not named Otter. So make sure you sub with the bell to find out who takes home the gold.